Well, this video is going to be a little bit different probably. Certainly different the way I'm starting it off. If you remember last week's video with the hole in the bottom, sanded right through it, and my question to you on that video was, should I fix it? How should I fix it? Just put a plug in the bottom, put a little pedestal under it, use a contrasting wood, that sort of thing. Well, I don't have your answers yet because that video is going live here in about an hour and a half. Well, no, in about a half an hour. So I don't have your answers, but I wasn't going to let that stop me because I knew your answer was going to be fix it. So I've been thinking about how to do that, and it's problematic. It might not look like it, but it's quite thin. I think it's about 3/16 of an inch. Obviously the bottom is very thin. Now it's thicker right around this edge right here than it is obviously in the middle. So I'm wondering where I'm going to glue it, because all this has to go away. It could go away before I start to glue it. I can chuck it back up like that and cut right through that hole inside the chuck jaws, and that's a problem because I might hit the chuck jaws with my chisel, but that's not a real big deal. But there just isn't any glue surface. By the time I cut that out of there, we're going to have about a 1/4 inch around here where the jaws are currently sitting, or would be currently sitting right there. Of course, this edge is dovetailed, so it's not a straight edge. It goes in the closer you get to the bottom. So I was working that out in my head, and then I thought, okay, I got it worked out. I know what I'll do. So I came out here yesterday. I cut this walnut block to fill it with. I guess a pedestal is what I had in mind, but it would be a small pedestal because, well, it's a small bowl. Well, how small is it, Phil? Well, so I came out here today to do that. First thing I looked at this, I thought, well, that's pretty big. And so I held the bowl up here, and it's the same size as the bowl. So I'm going to make a bowl. I'll fix this another time. I'm not gonna turn all that away to fit a little thing in here. And the reason I did that is the same reason I do all my turnings when I start them. I always want to get the most out of the piece of wood, so that was my goal on this, forgetting the size of the bowl I'm working with. I had this square block of walnut. I just laid out a circle so that I could get as much out of it as I could, mount it up, went back in the house. I come out today and find out it's as big as the bowl, and it would just be a waste to turn all that away. So I'm not going to. I'm going to make a bowl. Now my daughter Stephanie was here a couple days ago, and she saw the little walnut bowl that I turned, I don't know, 2-3 weeks ago, and she was hinting, as she sometimes does, about how much she likes it. And I usually say, well, take it home with you. But I didn't say that this time. I don't know why. But then I got to thinking about it, and I thought, well, she loves walnut, and I've given her a few walnut bowls. But I guess I thought to myself, well, I can do better than that one. So I'm going to do a different shape than I've ever done before. We're going to be turning with a 1/2 inch bowl gouge. Probably 90% of this will be a 1/2 inch bowl gouge. We're going to be turning at 1200 RPM, mask and face shield on. We're round, so we will lay out for a recess. Now I gotta get back up a little bit more. I made that extra deep on purpose. I'll show you why in a minute. I want to move some of this wood over here to make a little base for it to set on. about what I had in mind. Yeah, I don't know what to call that. That's kind of what I had in mind. Yeah, I bet she likes that. I do. Kind of different. Boy, this grain in the walnut's kind of different, isn't it? I like that. The walnut I've been turning lately has been very dark. So maybe this will have a little liveliness to it. But I had in mind. Time for sanding. I've done a little bit of sanding already. I wanted to see what I could do under power and what I have to do by hand. And I can do... I'm afraid to use too much power. I'm gonna sand here and here, and then that's about it. Then I'm gonna peel the disc off and just hold it in my hand and get in here. I'm afraid I'll wipe out this detail, whatever it is. So it's gonna take a little bit of time, but I'll get it. And what does this shape look like to you? I was thinking about this last night while I was laying in bed. I didn't think about it earlier. Looks like a spittoon, for Christ's sakes. Let me get my mask and fan running and I'll show you what all this looks like. I got the lathe spinning in reverse at about 300 RPM. Well, that's not so tough. I guess I'll get that done. I am starting at 120 and working up through 400. And I'll bring you back in a bit and we'll put some kind of finish on there. See you in a bit. I'm using the same finish as I did on the the little bowl with a hole from last week. And that is Axe sanding paste. It just really surprised me on that one, how nice it turned out. So I thought I'd try it on the walnut. So I've been rubbing it in for a while. Now I'm just spreading it around really well. I also used Gary's trick of using the 3M abrasive pads after I got done sanding. And I'm telling you, that makes an incredible amount of difference. Okay, I think I've got that spread pretty well. So I'm going to find a clean spot on my paper towel. I'm going to turn the speed up. Now the goal here is to create enough heat to melt the wax that I'm applying, the abrasive paste, so that it'll melt into the wood. And that's probably why that one felt so hard. It's not a soft finish like you might expect from wax. I'm going to find another clean spot. And you just keep doing this until no more comes off on the paper towel. And then you know you're done. I'll put it inside the recess after I sign it. And that's about 1,000 RPM. Well, still got a little bit coming off. We'll turn it up a little more. about 1200, 1300. This is going to put a pretty good gloss on the wood. Pretty good gloss on the walnut. But I don't think it's going to be a real high shine. Yeah, it's pretty shiny. Okay. Now I'm going to let that set up for a while so that it doesn't let fingerprints show, and then we will turn it around and start hollowing it out. And that's when I'll bring you back. See you in a bit. I'll turn the piece around and have the chuck jaws expanded into the recess. We're going to be turning at 1100 RPM, half-inch bowl gouge, mask, and face shield on. Now you notice I did that different than I did last week, where I was talking about how difficult it is to start here and how the gouge wants to kick back when it makes contact with the wood. I did it different because I wanted this beveled like it is here, which matches the bevel on the outside right here. I didn't want to go straight in like I did last week, and I sure don't want to go through the bottom of this one like I did last week either. Now I've made kind of a difficult shape here to deal with. I'm going to have to undercut it down this way, not right here, because it has that cove right here. But I got to go that way, and I'll have to do that with my carbide hollowing tool. And I'm also going to be checking the depth of my bottom a lot. Now I didn't cut through it last week, I sanded through it. But I need to be careful about cutting through or sanding through or just plain getting too close. But we're good for now. I have this one that's made to do that. But it doesn't really, it's not that big of a bowl. It doesn't come over there all that far. So I might just use this one. I think that'll work okay. But I am going to spin this around a little bit to get a sharper edge. I'll be right back. I'm just practicing my cut before I get started here. I find that this works better starting in and coming out rather than going in that way. You can do it either way, and I'll probably end up doing it both ways, but it's easier to come out. That's just a little tiny cutter, and it wants to grab sometimes, so I like to be careful. Oh yeah, that did pretty good. Well, we got about a ½ inch total. 3/8. I'm probably just going to have to scrape this transition here. I can't really, well, maybe I can. Yeah, I guess I can't. That's thin enough on the bottom. Got about a 1/4 inch. I can't use my largest scraper. I'm not even sure I can use that one. Well, I do have a smaller one, but it's really small. Let's see what happens. Oh, that's not bad. That's a lot better. I'm probably not going to be able to power sand that. I don't think my disc will get back in there. I'll probably have to hand sand. But we got it done, and I'm grateful for that. Time for sanding. So that's the way I'm doing it. And I'm doing that because I don't want to wipe out this corner right here. I don't want to wear that down. I want it to keep us the same relationship here as it is with this. But in sanding this inner portion by hand, it's leaving radial scratches. So I'm coming back after I do that to remove those scratches. I hope that makes sense. Makes sense to me, and it's working, so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm surprised that I can sand this whole thing. I just don't want to wipe out this corner. Just being extra careful. I'll bring you back here in a bit. Well, should I? It's just gonna be that same wax. Yeah, okay. Okay. I'll bring you back here in a bit, and we'll put the finish on the inside. See you in a bit. We're going with the Axe Abrasive Paste again, of course. Same as the outside. and I've just loaded my paper towel up with it. We're just going to rub it in here real good, just like we did on the outside. That's why I thought maybe you wouldn't want to watch it, but some of you do like to, so here we go. So when I came out here today, wasn't this morning. I was going to say this morning, but that's not likely. Anyway, when I came out here, there was this strong chemical smell in the shop. And I thought, oh gosh, something broke. I don't know why it would, but not freezing or anything. So I looked around, looked at all my stuff that I use. Everything's fine. But that smell, I mean, it was strong. But I couldn't pinpoint it, couldn't find anything, so I just went about my business. Then when I was cleaning up my area here, the sand, and I got close to this bowl with my nose, it's the wood. I've turned a few pieces of walnut, and I've never smelled that smell before, but it's very strong. And it's not this, I thought it might be this, but I got close to this with my nose, and that ain't it. So it's got to be the wood. I can't explain it. I don't know. I've never smelled it with walnut before, or any other kind of wood really, but it was strong. So if anybody else has experienced that with walnut, let me know. Can you hear that grit working? I got a little bit of extra on this edge I got to get off of there. I wouldn't call this a high shine, but it is shiny. Shinier than most of my pieces. But it's not real high shine, and that's a good thing. Also, I've never seen walnut with so much light color to it. That's pretty amazing to me. Maybe Dan will chime in here and let us know if he's smelled it with the walnut he's turned, where this came from. No, this isn't Dan. Sorry. Dennis. This came from Dennis, my friend Dennis down in Oregon. Did I say that earlier? Well, it's true. Okay, we rubbed it in really well. Turn the paper towel over. Turn the speed up. Start buffing it about 1,000 RPM. Build up some heat, melt it into the wood, turn the paper towel to a clean spot, just keep buffing until no more comes off. And that's when you're done. Turn the speed up a little more. About 1,300 RPM. Build up that heat. Not much came off that time. All right. See, that's not too shiny, right? Looks okay to me. Now, I'm real happy with this spittoon. Definitely won't want it if I tell her it's a spittoon. So it'll just be our little secret. Okay, I'm going to let that set up for a while, and I'll bring you back, and we'll take a look at this thing setting up right and looking like a walnut bowl or a spittoon. See you in a bit. Now, I know you all were expecting this one to be fixed today. No luck. I told you why. Because that piece of walnut that we just turned is the same size as this. And why waste all that wood away when I can make a whole complete bowl out of it? A bowl that I love and that I think Stephanie's going to love. She was going to get it for Christmas, but now she's in my house. So she's probably going to get it today. So I'm not going to promise you next week, but I'm going to do everything I can in my power to get it done next week. Thanks to you, I've come up with some good suggestions on how to fix this. And so that'll be next time. I'm almost positive. So for today's video, and if you'd share this, I'd really appreciate that. Thank you so much. It's kind of cool, kind of a different shape. What do you think? Does it look like a spittoon to you? It sure does to me, but don't tell Steph that. It's very different than other walnuts that I've turned in that it's so much lighter in so many places, which I kind of like. And it's so smooth with that finish I put on there. I wish you could feel it. So let me know what you think of this one. It was a lot of fun, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you, Dennis from Oregon, for bringing this up for all to enjoy. I do have guests in the shop today, and I forgot to even put them on camera, dang it. But I do have visitors with me today. If you like this video, thumbs up, please. I'd sure appreciate it. If you're a subscriber, thank you very kindly. I truly appreciate that. I also appreciate you spending some of your time with me today. That means a lot to me. Thank you. I'm looking forward to your comments. So for now, this is Phil.
And Kelvin.
And Adrian.
Shady Acres Woodshop, signing off.